I was only 25 years old, working at the Western North Carolina AIDS Project, when I met someone I will never forget. A charismatic, fresh-faced youngster named Dennis. Dennis was extensively schooled, well-traveled, and never without a kind greeting for everyone he met. Though his favorite person was probably his roommate and human, Bob, one of our longtime clients at the AIDS Project. You see, Dennis was a short-haired, long-eared, tan Chihuahua. The American Kennel Club describes the Chihuahua's temperament in 3 words: charming, graceful, sassy. Well, Dennis had all 3 personality traits in spades, as did Bob. But Bob had not always been this way. I had known Bob a few years earlier, before Dennis came into his life, and shortly after his partner of 25 years had passed away from AIDS-related complications. Bob would enter the office for his monthly meeting with his case manager with a muted heaviness that we HIV support staff knew very well. He had developed a hacking cough, yet still smoked all day, every day. Occasionally, we heard Bob laugh, but it was the kind of wry laugh that held no joy, only bitterness. This was a small town, and we knew Bob spent much of his time over at a grimy old bar, often alone, drinking vodka tonics late into the night. Things got worse when one of his close friends died, his closest friend, really. It was the turn of the millennium, in the time of the drug cocktails, when people were taking 20 to 30 pills a day just to survive, and even then, often not successfully. Bob's dear friend had a little dog named Dennis, and in his will, he had left Dennis to Bob, who dutifully... I think they made it through. So his dear friend, he had a little dog named Dennis, and in his will, he had left Dennis to Bob, who dutifully followed through and took him in. What I witnessed in the years that followed was a transformation I feel completely blessed to have watched from afar. Because you see, it was impossible to be sad when you were with Dennis. Dennis exuded charm, positivity, upbeat resilience. He was allergic to smoke, so Bob had to smoke outside. And eventually, he came to quit the habit. Dennis couldn't spend too long in the bars, though Bob brought him anyway, just for one drink amongst friends, because Dennis was magnetic. Dennis didn't walk. Dennis pranced. He sashayed. He shantaed. Every day, Dennis walked down the street like it was the runway at a ballroom show, voguing for the crowd, and Bob began to strut proudly behind him. Dennis enlivened Bob. He resurrected his tired, worn spirit. Bob started to come around more at the office. He started to volunteer, helping out with mailings or making signs for Pride or delivering food to our other clients or whatever was needed, always with little Dennis hanging around at his side. He took Dennis to get groomed each month, and after that, they would strut into our office calling, "Yoo-hoo, ladies, we're here," to whomever was around. I know I am preaching to the believers here, but until that moment, I had never seen an animal rescue a human. It was a beautiful relationship to behold. And just a year after living with Dennis, Bob had never looked better. I see you out there, each of you. And I don't know who you would be without your animal family. And I don't know who saved whom. But I know that When we have had a hard day, or when the world has given us all we can take, or when we feel scared and alone, we turn to them, our fuzzy, furry, affirming animal companions, who give us life just by showing how we can walk through ours if we'll only follow their lead. Charming, graceful, sassy,